Imagine walking along a beautiful coastline. The sun is setting, the waves are gently lapping at the shore. But then you see something strange. A starfish, but it's not just sitting there. Its arms are twisting, contorting, literally tearing themselves away from its body. It looks like something out of a horror movie, but this isn't fiction.
Oh, yes.
This is a real, devastating phenomenon happening right now in our oceans. Starfish are self-destructing, and for a long time, scientists were baffled. What could be causing these iconic sea creatures to essentially melt away? Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious and alarming world of sea star wasting disease. So what exactly is sea star wasting disease, or SSWD for short? It's as gruesome as it sounds. The first signs are subtle. A starfish might develop white lesions on its skin. Then, its body starts to lose its firmness, becoming soft and deflated, almost like a leaky water balloon. The real horror begins when its arms start to crawl in opposite directions, ripping themselves from the central disc of the starfish's body. In the final stages, the entire animal disintegrates into a pile of goo. It's a rapid and brutal process, often killing a starfish within just a few days. This isn't a new, isolated incident. The first major outbreak that caught widespread attention happened back in 2013. It swept along the entire west coast of North America, from Alaska all the way down to Mexico. The scale was unprecedented. Millions upon millions of starfish across more than 20 different species were wiped out. Imagine entire underwater landscapes, once covered in vibrant, colorful starfish, suddenly becoming barren graveyards. The sunflower sea star, a massive predator with up to 24 arms, was hit particularly hard. In some areas, over 90% of its population vanished, leading it to be listed as critically endangered. The ecological impact was, and still is, immense. For years, scientists raced to find the culprit. Was it a chemical pollutant? A new type of bacteria? A fungus? The initial leading theory pointed to a virus, specifically a type of densovirus. Researchers found this virus in higher concentrations in sick starfish compared to healthy ones. The idea was that the virus was attacking the starfish's immune system, leaving it vulnerable to secondary bacterial infections that ultimately caused the tissue to decay. This seemed like a solid explanation, and for a while, the scientific community leaned towards this viral hypothesis. It made sense. Viruses can cause devastating epidemics in all sorts of animal populations. But science is a process of constant questioning and refinement. And the virus theory started to show some cracks. When researchers tried to infect healthy starfish with the densovirus in controlled lab settings, they couldn't consistently replicate the full-blown symptoms of sea star wasting disease. Sometimes the starfish got sick, but other times they didn't. The results were inconsistent. This suggested that the virus might be part of the story, but it probably wasn't the whole story. Something else had to be at play. The mystery deepened. If it wasn't just the virus, what was the missing piece of the puzzle? The search for answers led scientists to look at the environment itself. They noticed a strong correlation between outbreaks of the disease and unusually warm ocean temperatures. Those major die-offs in 2013 and 2014 coincided with a massive marine heatwave in the Pacific, famously nicknamed the Blob. Could rising sea temperatures be the trigger? Warmer water stresses marine life, making them more susceptible to diseases. It also speeds up the metabolism of microorganisms, including potentially harmful bacteria. This led to a new, compelling theory. What if the problem wasn't an invading pathogen, but something already living on the starfish? All animals, including us, are covered in a community of microorganisms called a microbiome. Usually, this community is balanced and healthy. But what if environmental stress, like warm water, threw that balance out of whack? Recent groundbreaking research from Cornell University has pointed in this direction. The scientists proposed that sea star wasting disease isn't caused by a single virus or bacterium. Instead, it's a condition of the starfish's own microbiome gone wrong. Here's how it might work. Starfish breathe through small, fleshy projections on their skin called papillae. When the ocean water around them has low oxygen levels, which can happen in warmer water with a lot of organic material, the starfish can't get enough oxygen. This creates a low oxygen or hypoxic environment right on the surface of their skin. This is where the trouble really starts. This low-oxygen environment is the perfect breeding ground for a specific group of bacteria that are already present on the starfish's skin. These bacteria are sulfide-producing. As they multiply, they produce high levels of hydrogen sulfide, a toxic gas that smells like rotten eggs. This sulfide essentially poisons the starfish's tissues from the outside in, causing them to decay and fall apart. So, it's not an infection in the traditional sense. It's more like the starfish are being suffocated and chemically burned by an overgrowth of their own resident microbes, all triggered by changes in their environment. This theory explains a lot of the lingering questions. It explains why the disease seems to appear so suddenly and in so many places at once. It's not spreading from one starfish to another like the flu, but rather being triggered by widespread environmental conditions. It also explains why the virus theory was so tricky. The virus might still play a role, perhaps by weakening the starfish initially, but it's the subsequent microbial chaos that delivers the final fatal blow. Think of it like this. A person with a weakened immune system might not die from the common cold virus itself, but from a secondary bacterial pneumonia that takes hold. Here, warm, low-oxygen water is the primary stressor, creating the perfect storm for the starfish's own microbiome to turn against it. So what does this mean for the future of starfish and our oceans? It's a sobering reminder of the interconnectedness of marine ecosystems. The health of these iconic creatures is directly tied to the health of the water they live in. As climate change continues to warm our oceans and create more frequent and intense marine heat waves, conditions favorable for sea star wasting disease could become more common. This isn't just bad news for starfish. It's bad news for the entire coastal food web. Starfish, especially species like the sunflower star, are keystone predators. They play a crucial role in maintaining balance. For example, they love to eat sea urchins. With the massive decline in sunflower stars, sea urchin populations have exploded in many areas. These urchins, in turn, graze on kelp forests, mowing them down and creating what are known as urchin barrens, underwater deserts devoid of the rich life that kelp forests support. The loss of kelp forests affects countless other species, from fish that use them as nurseries to sea otters that rely on the ecosystem. The self-destruction of one animal creates a domino effect that can unravel an entire habitat. Is there any hope? Yes, but it requires action on a global scale. The most important thing we can do is address the root cause: climate change. Reducing our carbon emissions to slow the warming of our oceans is paramount. On a more local level, improving water quality by reducing nutrient runoff from land can also help. This runoff can lead to algal blooms that die, decompose, and suck oxygen out of the water, creating the exact oxygen conditions that trigger the disease. There are also glimmers of hope in the starfish themselves. In some areas, scientists are seeing tentative signs of recovery. Juvenile starfish are being spotted, and some populations seem to be developing a resistance to the disease. Researchers are actively studying these survivors to understand the genetic or microbial basis for their resilience. Captive breeding and reintroduction programs, like those for the sunflower star, are also underway, offering a chance to bring these crucial predators back to their kelp forest homes. The story of the self-destructing starfish is a powerful and tragic lesson. It shows us how a changing climate isn't some abstract future threat. It's having real, devastating impacts right now. It reveals the delicate balance of life in our oceans and how the loss of one species can cascade through an entire ecosystem. But it also shows the resilience of nature and the dedication of the scientific community working to understand and solve these complex problems. The fate of the starfish is a wake-up call, urging us to be better stewards of our blue planet before more of its incredible inhabitants begin to disappear. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the wonders and challenges of the natural world. Let us know in the comments if you've ever seen a starfish in the wild. See you next time.